On air.
Dang. Does VDL say that?
It does, yeah.
Oh, how does it know?
It just knows, man.
How does it know that? It's spying on me.
It's because you have it linked right into your OBS. So there's got to be some kind of.
Oh, like
feedback.
your cameras? Or our cameras?
Yeah,
Interesting.
because it tells me we're on air.
That is very interesting.
It doesn't say you're live yet.
Well, it should.
There it is.
Okay.
Just took a second to. Oh, I can hear myself. Hi, chat.
Yeah, I told you they were going to be able to hear us as we were getting set up. More entertaining that way. See, if they get here for the starting soon screen, they get bonus content.
Hear us ramble and be like, what are we doing?
And say bad things about people. Like Peter from Tales from Elsewhere is the worst.
Oh, that guy.
That guy. Can't stand him.
He only succeeds because he's handsome.
I can't find the there it is. I can't find anything in my own server. YouTube pings going live again for some more EZD6 playset making.
Victory is yours.
Moss and Stone.
Moss and Stone.
I love that is a thing.
That is wonderful.
And the Twice Dead Swamp. We gotta
Twice Dead Swamp.
We gotta
Right,
put. I meant to put that in the one note so we don't lose it.
I'm doing it right now.
I was actually thinking of some backstory for why Moss and Stone is important the other day.
Yeah, because you were working on that, right?
Yeah. That
Supposedly.
that part falls on me. All the creative stuff. Well, not
All of it.
All of it. The
I
creative
see,
writing.
I see.
There's Whispering Wisp. I know that guy. Let's see. Pop out chat. Wisp, you're the first one here while we're getting set up. You can let me know.
What if I have ideas and I want to creatively?
Well, you
throw stuff
can, but
your way?
I'll make it work. But Wisp, you let us know how my mic is versus Jacob's mic versus music.
Can you hear me?
Okay, that was way too loud. That hurt my ears.
Sorry, buddy. I got excited. I wanted to make sure that Whispering could hear me.
All right, I posted it in Squirrel, so I think we can hop over. If you got anywhere you want to post it, you can.
I already am working on it.
Dang, look at you go. Boop. Hey.
Scrouty. I like that.
Scrouty?
Instead of howdy, it's scrout.
Should I start saying scrouty? Well, scrat howdy. All right. There's Glee. All right, so
She booped.
she booped. My nose is stuffy. I'll try not to too much into the microphone. So looking at the levels, it looks like we're proper, but I've learned that doesn't always mean anything. So
All right. Well, welcome to another fun little making an EZD6 playset.
we will test
Playset.
the playset later.
Moss and Stone.
Moss and Stone. That is what we are going to call it.
So, Scrat, what are we working on, bud? We're making a not Redwall game system setting playset. I'll get there.
Yeah.
Using the system of EZD6, right?
Yep. Very animal-y, kind of Redwall-y. So we're going to be working on classes today because, well, yes, but I did want to go into the Predator system just a little bit because that's what we're replacing magic with. So there's magic resistant in EZD6. We're going to go with Predator resistance and Predator rating since we're all animals. Like, how intimidating are you, basically?
Yeah, for sure.
The Scrat is louder, but is overall balanced. He may be slightly quiet. Quiet compared to you. Okay, well, see, it depends.
He turned me down. 'Cause he didn't like
You
me
started
yet.
speaking quietly.
Well, I wanted to balance my excitement with your excitement, my friend.
All right, you ready to see some early phases of the artwork we got for this?
I mean, you're surprising me with things.
There we go. It's an early concept. It's a wild blaze. Oh, I'm working on your video. I got a World Shapers review in the works. I bet he's excited.
So for people who don't know, that is EZD6's.
Yes, that's the warrior.
The warrior, and he put a squirrel on the face. I love it. It's fantastic.
Yes. Scrat's excitement is always tempered at most.
And my excitement gets wild. So this poor dude's over here watching the mics go bling, 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 bling.
All right. So let's
talk about the Predator. You brought it up.
Well, first we will define here how our classes are going to work and see if we remember. Feel free to reference the one note.
Wait a minute. You gotta calm down there, Killer, because you said, "Oh, we're gonna talk about the Predator system a little bit."
We got to figure out how the classes work, and then I'm going to explain the Predator system, so when we're making classes, we can use the Predator system. So
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
How do they work? To make a character, not a class. I'm gonna make this a little bigger. I guess I could just zoom in. Yeah. All right. To make a character, I like the idea of step one being to pick a species instead of doing that last, since this is all about animal stuff.
I was actually going to bring it up last time, but we ran out of time. And so, hey, you know what? I love that we're on the same page, because I totally agree. Your species really matters for roleplay in this system.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big deal.
That's an important pick. So, pick a species, and then you will pick a job. Is what we're calling.
I like the word job.
Pick a
it
job.
It has a Final Fantasy Tactics feel to me. I don't know if you ever played that one. But...
Yeah, well, Final Fantasy Tactics, and then some of the much older Final Fantasy games too use the term job a lot.
Oh, that's right. You and I were talking about that. Yeah.
Yep. Especially so, Final Fantasy V did not make it to the U.S., but you can very easily get a translated ROM of it now, and that one was super cool because you could just switch jobs for any character. And it had so many different ones. Like, it had, your black mage, white mage. It had green mages. It had blue mages. It had time mages. It's like, holy crap. So cool. Anyway, pick a job, hero path, and then part of your job is pick an specialization. Is that what we're calling it?
I like specialization, yes.
Oh, hospital specialization.
I know, I think I spelled it wrong too. But...
that's an edge. So after you do that, then it's inclinations, right?
Correct.
Pick inclinations.
And then it'll be gear.
Number to be determined. We don't know how much inclinations we're going to get yet. And then what'd you say?
We were teetering on 3.
Would be a good starting point, but
yeah. But we've had the privilege of working with Scotty a little bit and reading through some of his playtest material, and maybe 3 is too little. So.
I would say, because in Wasted World, you really load up on them.
Yeah.
So it depends on what inclinations we make. And that's right, we had thought about major and minor inclinations.
I know, I did. I was just about to bring that up. You and I talked about that, so...
That will determine, because like I think of things like, oh, you get a boon to melee. It's like, that's a pretty basic one, but it can also be pretty strong, but it's not very entertaining. So like more functional ones like that could fit into a category type, and then you have the more interesting ones like the lock picking ones and more flavorful stuff like the sneak thief kind of thing. So anyway, might have major, minor inclinations. All right.
That's awesome.
Why are we saying get a job?
They're teasing you about because we had pick a job.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so now the Predator system. Now that we have defined the job. The Predator system, that's replacing magic resistance. So in EZD6, magic resistance, and I think I should probably have looked before we started, like when you're using magic attacks. So if you're the conjurer, for example, you roll a number of d6s, and it's a static number for your character. Most hero paths just have 1d6 magic resistance, whereas the friar and conjurer have a little more. But even though it's called magic resistance, I'm pretty sure you also use that for when you're performing a magical activity. And the way it works is you roll your d6s against the enemy's magic resistance, and then if you meet or beat what they roll, then you win that magical task you're trying to do. And there's some rules in there. If you're hitting multiple targets with your magic, you know, the enemy gets to add 1d6 per target and all that kind of stuff. But that's the gist of it. So instead of magic, since we're in a world of animals and we're not going to lean into the magic thing as of so far, I think that's been our decision.
Yep.
We're going to replace that with a predator rating system kind of thing. So like you're playing a little mouse, you're 1d6. You're not very intimidating, and something like a snake is probably going to have like a 4d6 predator rating, and that's, you know, and that's why I wanted to kind of define this before we start going into classes, because we might come up with something cool that's really intimidating and can use that predator rating. So if you have a snake, you could just have intimidating presence or something be an ability, and if you fail that roll, you're just paralyzed for a turn or something. Just spitballing this right off the tip of my tongue here. So, you know, snake gets to roll. Yeah, snake gets to roll a whopping 4d6, and then you only get your 1d6. You can still win, but the likelihood is, you know, much less. So, I don't know, and it's kind of down the road, how we can use those as attacks, because in EZD6 you can just say, oh, you know, this bad guy is throwing a fireball at you. That is a magic attack. He's using 2d6. Roll your magic resistance. So you could just say, all right, the snake is trying to entangle you. He's trying to wrap around you and squeeze you. He's using his predator rating. So then you would have to roll. And that's where it kind of seems to me like it might be a little weird. It's like, well, why am I rolling my predator resistance against this guy's attack, right? Is it just to see if I lock up in fear, or
we've kind of talked about it a little bit, and I think there's going to be a balance, right? Because maybe when we start creating monsters and creatures, they have a signature move, like the cat's hiss, or the eyes of the snake, or, you know, whatever it is.
It might make more sense to call it presence instead of just predator whatever, you know. And then
predator presence,
yeah, something like that, and use it. That's how it gets used all the time. It's not so much an attack, because the magic in EZD6, a big role it plays is balancing out the use of karma, because when you're doing regular attacks, you can increase your roll result with your karma left and right, which is fun. That's super fun to balance that resource. You can't use karma with magic stuff, right, with your magic resistance and magic attacks. So if that's, you know, you're going up against a snake or whatever, like we said, that could be his way to overcome the player's karma usage. So it's just like, no, he is striking with the predator presence or whatever. So it's,
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like that's a good concept. We'll see how it unfolds.
I like it in concept. I'd like to see how it feels in EZD6, because not only are we replacing the magic system, we're changing a little bit to fit the world we're doing it in, right? So I like the idea that we're offering something completely unique, you know what I mean, where it's like, and
but still uses the same mechanic more or less.
Correct. Yeah, more or less. I think there's going to be some changes, because it's an overall, like, almost an overall fear rating, right? Mm-hmm. In a way, or like,
but not in the horror sense. It's just like,
well, that's where the predator is. I love that direction we're heading. So predator presence or predator rating is.
Well, we can't call it predator presence because then it's just PP for short. So.
Yeah, let's do PR. Maybe we should stick with the predator rating.
Let's see. I am a hermit. Yes, that's true. I would like to yeet off into the woods forever, up on a mountain somewhere. So
next to a giant lake.
Yeah.
So you can have your cephalopod there.
Yeah. Throw her in the water. All right.
Get out of here.
So we got that. So let's make some classes. I wrote down quite a few. Let's see. You can't.
I'm gonna have to change my workstation to the other side because Glee brought up that when we're looking at our workstations, we're looking in opposite directions. So it's like, oh, we're not looking at each other.
Well, I can just swap us on the screen. Is that what I need to do?
I'm just teasing you. All right, let me pull up what you have here. We have last week we kind of threw out some ideas, right? We threw out.
And then I wrote down a bunch more. Like, I love the idea of a beast rider class and a beast. Well, I'm sorry. You'd have the beast whatever job, and then your specializations would be you're a beast rider, so you mount things and ride them around, or you could have the tamer who has a companion.
Well, let's start with the base jobs.
Yep.
Right?
So let's just make a warrior. Right?
Do you want to list them out, or do you want to just focus on one at a time?
Let's just do one at a time. See how that goes.
Okay.
Maybe we'll rapid fire some more.
Did you just copy paste it?
I did.
Oh no, I see what you're doing. Okay.
Warrior. So.
Yeah, it's on Scratch channel. We've only done one.
Yep. Yeah, this is the second one. They're under the live tab, which I always forget exists.
Scrat and I do meet up in person and discuss a little bit. Those are not on VODs anywhere. But
we're trying to do a significant chunk of this on stream until it gets to like boring stuff. Like, all right, well, there's no need to stream that, but like the general brainstorming and stuff and whiteboarding, as you can see. Because then chat gets to throw out ideas, and that's how we get the name Moss and Stone.
That's also how we got the name of Twice Dead Swamp.
I came up with that one. Because the guy's name is Twice Dead Mage.
But if he wasn't here, we wouldn't have had that.
That's true. That's true. Fair enough. All
right, warrior.
So I guess I should clarify this. The jobs, they got to get some perks before a specialization, or are they just nothing without a specialization?
Well, when you think of a warrior, what do you think?
Also, here's a fun idea. What if you could skip a specialization in favor of more inclinations?
I absolutely actually love that.
Okay, then that's assuming the job has some perks on its own. Yeah. So let's.
So the warrior is going to give them the 3 strikes, the heavy armor, right?
Specialization. Don't pick the specialization. Get extra inclinations in return. All right. Just put that over there. All right. What were you saying about the warrior?
You get your armor rating. You get your strikes.
Right. That's the big
HP.
part of
That's the base. Yep. Right.
All right. So warrior. 4, 5, 4+ for armor. Or sure. Yeah, and then we can have a super tanky one that's like 3+ or something. One of the specializations.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Okay. Yes. So
armor,
the base for the warrior is 4, and then
armor 4+.
Glee's got a great question. She would like you to make a playlist from the live action section.
You should be able to, or I should be able to. So I could do that now that we have more than one.
give Glee the power. So we're talking armor rating. I'm going off of our notes on OneNote where we talked about what the job gives.
Yeah.
Miraculous save rating.
And we don't know what we're calling that yet, but we'll just call it M-Save.
Okay.
Because it will still function completely the same. It will just have a neat name if it even needs it. Miraculous save. So 1. Oh, I'm sorry.
6.
6. Yeah. For now.
And then strikes HP, which you have down. Predator resistance comes from the job, is what we originally had.
Yeah. So 1d6. Just as something to start.
Now, wild idea, and you can shoot it down. But is there a way to do we put the predator resistance or predator rating based on the job or based on the species?
The species we talked like the badger that could be his perk since he's so big, is he just gets +1 to that.
You know, that's the better way of doing it. Sorry, I was my brain's just trying to process through all of what we got going on here, and I you're absolutely right. We did discuss that, and I like that route better. By the way, we've been asked to hydrate, so
hydrate. Demoted to 3rd monitor. Oh, that's right. She's got a big meeting today. They're taking votes for the new company name.
Hey, at least it wasn't demoted to the 4th monitor. I'll take 3rd.
There is no 4th.
Ouch. Oh, I love 4 monitors.
I tried 6 one time and it was just stupid.
Ooh, I don't know if I can do 6.
That was very dumb.
So we're not going to get into my setup. Maybe, unless chat wants to know, but I'm not going to get into it. So warrior, that's your base definitions. Now, in original EZD6, do the job, the hero path, sorry, I had to think about the word. The hero path gets a boon, but I think and correct me if I'm wrong, we're eliminating the boon to the job and allowing it to be to the below to the specializations? Or are they still going to have an overall boon of melee and strength tasks?
Well, if we want to pull in that trick of, hey, you can skip an edge in favor for more inclinations, the job needs to have something.
Good call. Good call. Yes.
Although the job dictates their base stats, so maybe not. Well, let's say let's make some specializations, and then see if there's something generic we can pull from all those that just goes right to the warrior. So,
because this is where you start getting overlap in things too, because you got to be careful. This is me processing out loud and thinking, because you could have a ranged warrior, right? That's their specialization. And so they're going to go for that ranged weapons boom, or that's what's going to be in it. Just processing out loud.
Oh, yeah. So actually, now that you say that, a warrior should probably just automatically get a boon to melee, right?
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. I feel like they should get something, but I'm not locked into it 100%. But we'll start with the idea of trying to find something generic.
Well, and then maybe in our system, warriors are specifically the melee characters, right?
Yes. And now another thing we can do for this, thinking about aspects kind of thing, instead of just a pure mechanical boon to melee, the perks that a job can get can be very narrative and roleplay focused. Like, you could just have the line, if you're the warrior, you're respected among these types of tribes or whatever. You are recognized, which can influence negotiate. Things like that.
A flavor text.
Yeah. So like
a flavor feature.
Well, and I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Some of them have that. Like the Warden, Trail Finder. You can follow traces left by passing creatures.
Yeah.
Like, that's not roll this for that. There you go. That's something you can do now. Also, you can sustain yourself in the outdoors. You can also sustain others, depending on the size of the group and circumstances. So, something for you to narratively kind of lean into. See what I'm saying? Yeah, let's do that. Whereas Delver here, one of their things is gear, always ready for a delve. You have a climbing kit with small but strong pythons, and and some equipment they have that's special to them. So things like that. So it could be a pure mechanical thing, pure flavor, or just some random gear kind of thing. So
perfect. They gotta have a little something, right?
we can even do, like, if we had an alchemist, it's like, hey, every session you have this potion. Like, you start every session with this potion, something like that. So the job should get something, I feel like, now that we have conquered that. And it doesn't have to be purely mechanical. Nut flavor, yeah. Boon, so we'll just say boon to melee, and then we'll put flavor text with a question mark.
So arguably,
I wish I could kind of make a table in here now.
the flavor text could be for each specialization that fits them. Or are we doing both?
It could, well, they could have a flavor text, but I feel like the bigger thing about specialization is they need something mechanical or
absolutely. Oh,
something.
I meant both.
Yeah, something. You can now do this thing.
Yeah.
So, like the Beast Rider, you can tame and mount large beasts. Like that's doesn't have a roll this for that. It's just like this is a thing you have access to now. All right. So specializations. Let's say a shield kind of guy, right? We'd like
shield bearer.
Shield. How do you spell that? Is that how you spell that?
It looks close.
We'll just call it the shield.
No, you were right.
Oh, was I?
Yeah, it's actually one word, believe it or not.
Okay, that's really because it doesn't like it.
What doesn't like it?
It squiggly lined it. Shield.
Oh, it's 2 word and 1 word. Interesting. They have it
depending on where you're from.
Yeah. Yep. Oh man, I'm not gonna go down that rabbit trail. All right.
All right. So this requires a shield,
but you
gives 3+ armor, right? Because I think that's in line with the warrior, which is really strong.
Yeah. Are we also giving? And I know we're pulling from EZD6, right?
Yeah.
Are we gonna do something that's like the shield sacrifice for the shield bearer?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Shield bearer, vanilla shield breaker ability. There's something else we'd like to put a personal touch on.
And see, this is where I want to add. This is where I would add the flavor. You get a shield. No. Yeah. Woohoo. Because this is the flavor text, right? That we could add to each one that fits. Like, obviously they should get a shield, right?
We gotta have the barbarian.
Yep.
What about a lancer? Yeah.
Still? Okay. I just want to make sure my mic's been funny because the cord's right here.
What about a lancer? Somebody who fights with a range, not a range, but like a pole arm kind of thing.
I mean, I love it. Yes.
Lancer.
We also had in our notes we had like an adventurer or a wanderer.
I feel like that might be its own job.
Okay.
Some kind of
we had it
roamer
under warrior, but yeah. Well, that's where you could put the ranger and the tracker, explorer, and we don't have to have the same amount. You and I were talking about warrior could have 12 options.
Right. We're shooting. You just got to have at least 2.
Correct.
Right. So you have some kind of choice to make.
Yep.
Though technically, if we're gonna do the scrap or bypass, ignore your specialization in favor for more inclinations, technically we only have to have 1.
Ooh, touche.
But 2 would be a good.
I think 2 is
a good minimum. Yeah. And I don't think that would be too hard to do either.
So let's talk about the quote unquote balance, right? we're giving. You're right, Gray Mustache. Absolutely right. Right now, EZD6 compared to what we're building, Moss and Stone. They already have a hero path called Warrior, and you're gonna that, and it does give you your health, your armor, gives you the boon to melee and strength tasks, and then you automatically get shield sacrifice, brutal strikes, and dual weapons. And we're breaking that up a little bit with what we're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is okay because it's kind of cool. It adds your your job specialization has a little bit more focus.
Say the warrior class in vanilla EZD6 is very good. Like you have all those options. Like you can just break your shield and then start using something. Well, yeah, actually, I take it back. You might have to have a different weapon to use.
Well, I want to be, and when you pick warrior though, you get all of those options. You get the shield sacrifice, the brutal strikes, and dual weapons.
And that's not to say it's overpowered. It's just really fun because it's really good.
No, it is absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, EZD6 balances itself by using the D6 and awesome roleplay, right? Mm-hmm. And what is balance? Go watch Scrat's other videos if you don't know.
Wow, that sounds like a Peter video. What is balance? Mine is what is good storytelling.
That's true. That's true. So I guess what I'm getting into is, right now if you go job warrior and then you go shield bearer, and then you pick your inclinations, is it not enough to have a character fleshed out? And I know we're not there yet, but it's something I want to keep in mind as we go forth, right? And right now we're just throwing stuff at the wall. These are thoughts that I wanted out on recording, that we're trying to balance this out, trying to figure out what makes sense for this playset we're building compared to the original EZD6, and why not just use that. We want to offer something that's different and fits the world we're making. So with that said, let's jump into what you have here, the Barbarian and Lancer. So is Barbarian going to be
That's the two-handed.
The two-handed, yeah.
Yeah. So, for now, anyway. Two-handed, vanilla perk, maybe an extra strike, don't know. Oh, you get an extra strike, but their armor becomes 5+.
That's what I was actually just thinking, because like it's a common barbarian, like you're in there dealing damage, but you're taking more hits. I actually really like that trade-off.
Yep. All right, so that's just something. Lancer. I was also wondering, can we make like a... It might be too much for the shield bearer to give them an extra predator resistance thing, since they're like all about defending. And depending on how we end up implementing the predator thing for enemies to use, we might dish out predator bonuses more freely. Like,
right.
So like you could say, oh, I'm gonna pick the job warrior, I'm gonna get the shield bearer, which gives me an extra D6 for my predator thing. Then I'm gonna be a badger who has another one, and then I'm gonna take an inclination that has even another one. But
I think that's okay, because then you focus down that route of resisting the you are now the predator of the predators.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, if the enemy's using a predator thing, they not totally rely on it. Like, they can still do damage the old-fashioned way, so you're not invincible just because you have 66 predator resistance. So
correct. Yeah, let's keep that in mind. I like where you're going with that for sure. Okay. And I got to remember that this is not set in stone. This is just us throwing stuff. We have swords and stones in the chat.
What's up, swords and stones? And Blaze just caught my what is balance text. So
he did, yeah.
He wants an inspiring knight specialization. I don't know. That might go under the bard thing.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
One that focuses on inspiring.
Leader. Because we want to try to keep the job, quote unquote, generic, right?
Jobs, generic, specializations, obviously focusing.
Influencer.
Everybody hates you, but for some reason you keep earning money.
That was bad. That was bad. That was rude.
All right, so Lancer, I don't know what else to do there, but I like the idea. So, what about dual wielding?
Right.
That was in the warrior, but that could be the wanderer explorer kind of one.
I think it should be. Let's put that down with the guy who's like Aragon, right? Because I wouldn't put Aragon as a warrior, would you? Like the ranger class.
Yeah.
I mean, he is. I mean, now we're diving. Now we're just crossing into all the universes, right?
For sure. All right, so let me just make another one over here.
Yeah, let's start another job just to start adding more stuff, right? I like scholar as the job. Do you have a problem with that?
Depends on what the specializations are.
Well, I was thinking the priest, the student, this one could be your alchemist.
So they're probably going to be weak
artificer,
in the sense
your
like
tinker.
6+ armor.
Absolutely, yeah, they're pathetic.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
M save, maybe their miraculous save is 5 or 6. Let's leave it at 6 for now.
That's funny. I was gonna go 5.
But well, their predator can be 2d6 though.
Oh, it's the predator. That's what I wanted because they've studied.
Yep.
And their knowledge has given them resistance, right?
Yep. It's old Grognard says.
Hello, old Grognard.
I was gonna say my oldest YouTube friend, but that just sounds like I'm calling him old. He was there since the beginning. Before, I got big and famous.
I definitely heard that he called you old. I mean, your name has old in it.
It is old Grognard.
I mean, that's what...
Can't fault me too much.
No.
He's got a Star Wars one out I've been meaning to watch. He just dropped, I think it's his most recent one.
Really?
He gets into the, he'll dig out some really old TTRPG books, and it's very interesting to see what's in them. Like, he'll just pick a rule and say, here's how this worked back in the day, or a handful of rules. Like, one I really liked, he pulled out, it was just random gambling rules, I think from a really old Dungeons and Dragons book. So it had things for like slot machines and knuckle bones and all that stuff in there. So, man, that's awesome.
That sounds like a fantastic supplement to have around.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Especially if it fits what you're doing, that's cool.
And he also had the video why 5e has a GM shortage issue, and it was very good.
I did watch that.
I would say that was his big viral one.
I actually did watch that one.
It's very good. Like it would have taken me an hour to say all that, and he did it in like 8 minutes. So,
but it was filled with truths.
It was very good.
Very well written. Very well done.
All right, so Scholar, we got that. So Scholar, and then specializations.
The nerd. A lot of stuff.
Well, you wouldn't have, maybe student should be the job, and then Scholar, that can be one of the specializations.
Oh,
because student's like a little lower, right? Let's do that. Student.
Interesting. I like
Scholar,
all right.
Which maybe that gives you a better miraculous save and another predator resistance. I don't know. What does a student get though? Outside.
Well, that's
what
I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
That's what I was just trying to figure out.
If you have old in your name, you can't complain about being called old.
So, scrap maybe base student only has a predator of a 1d6,
and then all the specializations give you one.
Maybe not all, but a lot of them, depending on what it is.
One of your specializations for student can be rebel. Like you kept skipping class. You picked up a thing or two.
That's the dual wielder. No. I just cast sword.
Scholar specialization. The nerd know a lot of stuff. Low charisma, has the ability well actually, which allows him to change the outcome of a roll. No, that's the bard, whatever it is in EZD6, has the ability to use karma against the GM.
Now, are we putting the bard in the student route?
Well, no, I'm saying that ability that lets you use your karma against the GM's roll. That can be what Blaze said for the well actually ability. So it's like the GM rolls a 6. He's like, "Oh, I got a crit." And the player's like, "Well, actually."
Perfect. That comes from the nerd. Then are we gonna add the specialization in the nerd?
I'm tempted.
I mean,
pretty good.
Maybe take his idea but fit the system, because like, what is a nerd in our?
Yeah. Well,
setting,
actually.
Right? Well, that would be the scholar, right?
Uses karma against GM.
That's brutal.
But you have to say, well, actually, or else it doesn't work.
We should do one of those. You know how he does the Scotty DM heads?
Yeah.
We'll do the Squirrel says. And we'll have like a little spot in the book where it has like the Squirrel says that you have to say, well, actually. You know what I mean?
You get bonus karma if you say, well, actually. I wanted to call my researcher sub-archetype nerd, but people kept telling me that I should change it. Probably, but...
So this is where I think that we should also have priest, or maybe not priest. I know it's already been used. I really liked friar because that's often used within the Redwall setting. The problem is I'm worried people... What?
No, I just said, is it?
Yeah. The problem is people might mix it up with the friar from the base vanilla EZD6 game, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I don't want to do. Even though it fits, it's the holy roller, the pious servant, or a crackpot, whatever you decide, right?
Sure. So, what we need to give the base student something here. I mean,
yeah.
Predator 2d6 is pretty solid.
Pretty high, yeah.
Now, do we want to give that to the base job, or?
That's what I was trying to figure out.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Also, I got my wizard squirrel shirt on today. Can't see it.
Oh, I went to look. Because we're not necessarily doing magical things, right?
Right.
So they could know a weak point of the enemy. That's interesting.
Ooh. What about you can re-roll one predator die?
Ooh, because you're
That's
recalling information.
You can re-roll one predator die that lands on one. Because otherwise you're just, if you say you can re-roll one, that's just making it 3d6.
So you re-roll a 1 on the predator die.
Yes. Yeah. So it'd be something like this. Book smarts. You know when something isn't right. You may re-roll a predator resistance die once if it lands on a 1.
Perfect. I mean, not perfect. I think there's some rewording that could be done, but
you get what it's supposed to do.
The gist is there.
Yeah.
Perfect. I think that fits really well with what we're going for, right?
Mm-hmm. The edumacated. All right, now that's a pretty solid ability coupled with 2d6 predator resistance. Like, that's pretty solid. I feel like, anyway.
Do you want to have the alchemist under this, or do you want the alchemist, tinker, artificer feeling to be under a like crafting job?
I was gonna say you could have like a
trades.
almost a scientist job, and that's or crafter or trade. Yeah, trade might make more sense.
I think trade would make more, because we have the student that to me would go down the science route, right?
Hey, you college student, Votech student.
So I like the idea that you got me on that one. Oh man. All right. I need to just start writing down stuff over here too. All right, let's go with specializations then, and we'll put like the alchemist, tinker, artificer feeling in a different route, different job. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're doing scholar. You want to just call it a priest for now? Because I think there should be a religious route.
Do we want religion in this, or because we're dissing magic? So is the religion going to have any magical influence, or
Absolutely. Do you have to have religion in your games?
there's my next video.
See, I personally love having different deities.
Yeah, I do too, and I think the moss and stone, what I was thinking of, is going to be a religious thing. Like, it's this promised land kind of thing almost, but we can make the religion where it's more so your faith is bolstering you in a way, not so much like, oh yes, this divine presence is actually physically making you stronger.
That's
so,
what
like,
I was going to go for.
yeah, like the faith, like the priest could get another D6 to their predator thing because they have the faith. They're like, I'm going to be kept safe from the snake. So
exactly, yeah. So we're on the same page. That was my suggestion too.
Okay.
They also is there, and this is Jacob having some ignorance. How does the healing work in this system?
Lay says faith is powerful no matter if there is a supernatural being behind it or not. Exactly. I almost kind of want, like, I don't think we need to because it would just complicate things, but like a predator resistance and a predator presence, like, for attacking. So like you could be really good at resisting, but you're still a tiny little mouse, so you're not very intimidating.
Interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if we could.
Let's put that down somewhere, because you know that's not a bad idea.
I just wonder if that's tacking on too much, or if it's the right amount of, hey, this is your own playset. I mean, and
well, yeah, let's just think about it.
I was saying, to be fair, the new playsets Scotty's making do add new mechanics.
That's what I'm saying.
Like Wasted World added the whole inventory and tracking ammo thing, so. And then the other thing that we're not allowed to speak about added the thing we can't mention. I don't know if we can or not. I'm
not
be
sure
polite.
where we're allowed to speak. Yeah, I think we should probably leave it alone for now.
I should probably check in a server from time to time and see what's actually publicly available knowledge. Predator stuff. Have a rating.
We're both writing it down.
Have a rating system for resisting predators. Have an additional rating system for being the predator. Alright. I'll make that a little bigger. Whee!
Because I definitely could see somebody like the barbarian.
Right, he would be like you could have a and maybe it doesn't need to be a static thing. So I was just thinking, like, the barbarian could have a barbarian scream. You roll predator offense or whatever we call it with 4d6 or something, and then whoever fails their predator rating does this thing. Ooh. Like, they are locked in stone.
They are locked. Oh, ooh.
See, and I almost wonder if that's what I was getting at the beginning of the stream. It's like, well, it depends on how we use predator rating with abilities. Like,
man, I love that idea. Like, you're being hunted by the cat. So, like, every X amount of time or something, or when it first appears, you roll that, and then you have a rating, and if you fail that rating, you lock up, or you have to hide for your first turn, or something like you have to scurry away. Oh, yeah. Man. That's cool. Hi, Peter.
I gasped and choked. I see Excalibur. I hit the like button. Well, I got it from you, man.
I mean, Peter, we already talked about how handsome you were once this stream. Calm down.
It's the only reason you're successful, Jacob says.
Interesting twist of my words, but okay.
That's what you said at the very beginning of the stream. It's recorded. You can go watch it. Jacob said he's only successful because he's handsome.
I didn't say only, but
I think you did. I think you did.
I probably did.
Also, you can see my original artwork for EZD6, our playset there, Peter. It's very good. Gonna rewind. Watch.
So I do like the scholar, the priest, the nerd, which we could change to being the professor. Now,
I know it's pretty funny
Arguably-
though. The well, actually.
I do like. No, I love the well. Actually, we don't have to rename it. I mean, we can keep the nerd. That's kind of fun. The priest, we could just rename it like the doctor, or name another word for a medical person that, especially back in the day.
The butcher.
The veterinarian, I guess, would work here. So if we put, excuse me, or we add the doctor in here, and that's going to be the bone saw. Thank you,
There
Great
you go.
Mustache. Yeah. Oh, what are your thoughts on that?
Man, my mind went down the trail of this dual predator thing. Because I was
Okay.
thinking of a voodoo witch doctor. Could be super
Witch Doctor
intimidating.
was on my mind too.
That'd be funny, like if they had a super high offensive predator rating, but they were actually scared of everything because they know it's all fake.
That's interesting. It is sawbone, not bone saw. You are correct, Great Mustache. Thank you. I like this predator rating thing. We got to flesh it out to where it makes sense, and it also make it unique to this system. And
Well, before I get vanilla EZD6, is that how just your magic resistance is also your magic attack thing? Is that how that works? Where's
superstitious. You have a boon to resist any magic. Let's see.
Like, this doesn't even have, so I guess players just all have 1d6 magic thing, whereas...
See, I
Because
don't
that's
remember
right,
those.
because the conjurer... That's right. So, when you're doing magic things, the conjurers, they can charge their spells or whatever. They can add more d6 to it for enhanced effects, if I remember right. Benefit... Oh, that's wrong. Okay, I think it's before you make a character. Let's see.
Because I'm on the Conjurer page, and I do
Conjurer.
not see that. Conjurer.
Okay, so here we go. Resistance to cast a spell. Most enemies or heroes resist spells with a 1d6, whereas others have a higher magic resistance. Will roll more dice. Spells targeted against the environment. Generate roll one. Okay. Powering up a skill. When a spell, not a skill. When a conjurer casts a spell, they must decide the power level 1 to 3d6 they want to use. This means the conjurer has to choose whether to roll 1, 2, or 3. The caster must equal or beat the resistance number of the highest resistance die rolled of the targets on one of the power level dice rolled. The resistance dice will always be rolled and revealed first before the conjurer decides on the power level. If the highest resistance number ends up as a 1, the conjurer automatically casts the spell. The highest die rolled on a power level roll must equal or beat the highest resistance. A power level of 6 will beat 6. The potential problem... Yes, the potential problem is if any of the power level dice rolled are 1s. If so, the spell fails automatically, unless the conjurer takes a spell burn. So that's why you don't want to just automatically throw a bunch of more d6s. So they don't have another rating. They just determine what they want to do at that moment.
Yeah.
So,
But maybe we do something different then completely, right?
what you could do, you'd have to give it to everybody instead of just the conjurer, but you could say, hey, you could make a predator roll, and when you roll 1, you don't fool the other predator. He sees right through you. So you could do that.
Peter found it. He went back to find it. And then, so these classes that give you the predator bonus.
Well,
See,
they're
I
just, they get the bonus to resist.
Yeah.
But I mean, we
See-
could, so there is kind of what we were thinking. So instead of it just being across the board, we could say each, what did he call it? It's not spell burn. Every class has its own individual spell casting rating, but instead of spell casting, so it would be
It's the predator rating we talked about.
Yeah, it's the same mechanic as spell casting, but we're not calling it spell casting, and individual classes have their own. But I really like the idea of the ones make you fail, because then it's just, guy saw right through you. I don't know, but that's...
I mean, I don't know if you've ever cornered an animal that was upset with you, but like even the littlest creature can turn and be intimidating for a split second.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
I cornered a woodchuck in the barn once, and boy, did it turn on me and start chittering its teeth. And I went from being this brave man who was going to catch this woodchuck and remove him from my barn to a for a split second. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it turned to fight. That's scary. And mind you, I'm 100 times the size of this thing.
Yeah. I'd be scared if Hoover came charging at me.
I mean, is Hoover the turtle?
Hoover's was the groundhog.
Oh, the groundhog. Yeah, I mean,
big old girl.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you've ever had an animal turn on you, a cornered squirrel, I mean, they're actually terrifying. So I love that idea. So we're really onto something cool here, and I appreciate it. A squirrel plays. Hey, squirrel. Hi, squirrel plays.
Hi, how you doing? All right. So that's kind of why I was wanting to dig into the predator system a little bit, because that will factor what we do with these jobs, but at the same time we also need to look at the jobs to see what we can do with the predator resistance. So it's like, we got to do both at the same time here. You actually have to worry more about prey animals, because when they face death, they charge, take out with them to save the herd, whereas predators will just leave if they think they're outmatched. True. All right. So,
but that fits the system we're trying to make here in a way, because if your little group gets jumped by a big bad baddie, and you all band together and roll well of fighting back this creature's predator, they might just be like, "Oh, whoa, dude, backing off."
System thoughts. So
Peter, I gotta know, what did I say exactly, since you went back and read it or watched it?
Bye, Blaze. Get back to work.
Blaze, we appreciate you spending some time with us, though.
We do.
Really kind of you.
We do. Every class to get their own.
Every job.
I'm sorry. It's okay.
Every
job to get their own.
Every hub.
Predator casting rating?
Yeah, definitely gonna change the name of that, but that's cool. What's fun about that is you can make some really cool, like, big beasties that are absolutely terrifying, and you can give them...
I say this could be like the Badger's whole thing. It's like, oh yeah, he gets an extra predator resistance, and then like 3 or 4 extra predator casting, because he's large.
Right, and that's something we could definitely consider.
Yeah,
and that helps balance that feeling out of, like, the Badger's a tough son of a gun.
Or you could just lean into the whole the Badger don't care, and he gets all the resistance. Of course, if you're failing on a 1, you wouldn't want to roll all your d6s, so maybe that's not the best thing. That works great for the spell thing.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of how Surge worked in Nuts. It's like, oh yeah, you can just blast all your challenge dice and take out the boss, but if you get
because it's not magic and it's a fear predator system, maybe we'd take away the failed ones.
Scratch says Peter from TFE is the worst. That guy can't stand him. Jacob, he only succeeds because he's handsome. Scrat laughs heartily.
Fine. We were both being kind of mean, weren't we? See, I was trying to compliment him, but I realized underhandedly
You just jabbed him.
I jabbed him. I'm sorry, Peter. Forgive me. I genuinely that's great. We're definitely on the cusp of something really cool with this predator system, because I think it fits exactly what we're trying to go with this, like, you're gonna die, little mousey.
Yeah. In the wilds. So scholar, priest, the nerd.
What are we doing with the scholar? What are we doing? And back to Can we put a doctor in there?
Under student?
Yeah, that's your healer.
Or do we want to have a healer job?
Do we have?
Do we want healers?
Yeah, we gotta have healers. Because then you can have your herbalist. You can have your herbalist.
Well, I'd say it's so your healer. You could have a herbalist, a doctor, and then your alchemist under there.
Well, that's what I was just my brain, because they're all close to circles, right? That are near, and so maybe we put the herbalist could be under the student, right?
Could, but I kind of like the idea of the healer doctor one being a job, and then like half your specializations are good healing, and then the other half are things like, oh, this is actually a witch doctor. You use very questionable methods, and this one's like, yeah, technically you're a doctor, but you dissect the enemies that you kill and take their parts and stuff like that. See what I'm saying?
I love it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
My SRD uses healing stones that the PCs have to find and identify and then use. Rough tongue helps pull away. Oh, it is two different things. The great mustache and swords and stones.
They're symbols.
Yeah, at a glance, they're very similar.
Yeah. The plague.
Well, let me rephrase that. At a glance, and when they're this big on the screen. A plague doctor. There you go. Yeah. Rough tongue helps pull away necrotic tissue and speed up healing. So, looking at Mouse Ritter, one thing you do in Mouse Ritter that I absolutely love so much is you are highly encouraged to salvage the enemies that you kill. Like if you kill a beetle, take his shells, and now you have a shield. You kill a snake, take his fangs, take him back home, and you have a magical weapon. But that works so well in Mouse Ritter because your inventory system, the way that works, you have very limited inventory space, and everything you use has durability to it. So you're constantly just... And that, I don't know how well that would go in EZD6, like to pick a specialization that salvages enemy parts. Or maybe it can be that and creates questionable brews with their parts.
Yeah.
But then if you as a player like, no, I want to make a sword out of his fang, you know, it's like, all right, you can do that now.
Healing cheeses.
Healing cheeses. Mouse Ritter is so good, man. All right, well, let's put yeah, I really wish I could make tables or cards or something on here now, but I feel like that would be too many buttons and it would defeat the purpose of Excalibur. So, job, we'll call it healer for now. Strikes, 3. Armor, probably 6 because weak boy.
Is there any of the jobs that have less than 3 strikes? No, only more than 3 strikes.
Yeah, I would say just like the brute has 5 or something, I think.
Okay. Yeah, it is. Brute has 5, yeah.
Works for the healer, so the specializations.
This is going to be your herbalist, witch doctor, or voodoo doctor, or something like that.
Witch, voodoo doctor. That's not how you spell voodoo. Voodoo doctor.
Voodoo doo doo.
Voodoo doo 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 doo. What would you call the one that the harvester?
The harvester.
Can pull parts.
Old Grognard, there is a healing mechanic in the base EZD6 game. It is the friar gets it, right?
What? Yeah. I've never used it. I've never got to play with it.
Heal anyone within range by absorbing 1 strike. They heal 1, you gain 1. So it's like you actually suck on their healing. Now, is there actual healing, right?
Isn't it a miracle you can do? See, I have not got to use miracles in EZD6. I've never played in a session with that. So I have no idea how that works.
I mean, the halfling starts with a healing potion. It's another breakfast. The alchemist gets 2 free healing potions. The Shurgan starts with a healing kit. That's what it was. The heal. It's really based on the healing kit, right? You can heal allies with 1 strike given time.
Yeah,
and
that
supplies.
one's that's like gives you a strike during a short rest kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
That is a very good inclination.
So, but the
Actually-
other healing is magical based.
Maybe that's the base healers perk, is that healing kit, and then
That's
there's no
that's-
inclination for that.
Boom. That's exactly what I was thinking. Or
Healing
maybe there
kit.
still is an inclination for it because somebody else wants to be that field medic, so they're battling out there, but they also
a weaker version of it.
Oh, that's exactly. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, healing
weaker
kit.
version.
So which is vanilla? Well, let's say based off vanilla surgeon. There's how you spell it. How do you spell that?
CHIRURGEON.
Whoa. CHIR. Well,
Where are you?
Chirurgeon. Chirurgeon? Do you need to put it in there? There. Oh,
Can you read
geez.
that?
I can just see that part. Chirurgeon. Oh, that's close.
You were close.
Able to heal X strikes.
Swords and
With
Stones, thanks for
downtime.
hanging out with us. Yeah, Scrat and I like working on these projects.
See you around, Mr. Stones. It is from
You are
Donkey Kong.
tripping. Oh,
I love Donkey Kong music. Peter. It's some of my favorite. But especially like the Donkey Kong 1 soundtrack. I think I listen to it every Sunday when I cook all my food for the week. I just start at the beginning and let it go to the end.
yeah. So I think with the healer, with the actual perk, we eliminate the healing kit altogether, and they just have the ability to heal X amount of strikes given time and supplies between scenes. Is that wrong to say?
I'm trying to correct my spelling here. What?
Oh,
Great Mustache says left out the second R and Chirurgeon. Oh wait, I see where you.
it's there. He just put the U and the R in the wrong spot.
There we go. It's such a weird word. All right, what were
It
you
is
saying?
So for our job healer, the healing kit, or healing hands, or whatever we want to call it, I say we change it up a little bit. As they can, the limitation of Shuriken is the start with a healing kit that has 6 uses. For ours, it's literally they just can heal allies 1 strike given time and supplies between scenes. Or we can change the 1, but I like 1 because that's a lot, right?
Yeah, but if they have like, what is downtime?
Well, that's why you say in between scenes.
Yeah, so I guess healing 1 strike between each fight isn't the worst.
Correct, because you're not going to heal them full if they've taken 2 strikes.
Yeah. All right. So
And that allows us to still use a Shuriken, but change it up, or however you say it, change it up that they have to have to use a healing kit.
able to heal 1 strike between scenes. That's really strong. But like, does this have a limit? How many times they can use it?
I would say no, in between scenes. So you're only healing them 1 strike. So if you're out and about, you get into a combat, you take more than 2 strikes, you're only getting healed 1, and you're still down a strike.
That's true. That's true.
And then boom,
I guess
They're
I
all-
think my
yeah.
mind went to solo play. I was like, that's super strong. Because you're just healing yourself constantly. But
oh
yeah,
see, I don't really do solo play, so
I know. I'm a loser with no friends. It's okay. It's fine.
you're literally sitting. Okay, we won't talk.
You're not my friend.
Fine.
You're my employee.
Glee is your friend.
No.
No.
She just makes money. Well, I don't have to.
Ouch.
Okay, so that's a really good, strong, not overpowered, but that is a strong ability, and that if you wanted extra inclinations, that's like, oh, I just want this, like you were saying, be the field medic, but I actually want to be a more warrior. You could just pick that job, get extra inclinations, and then focus. Like, yep, I'm gonna pick a boon to melee. I'm gonna pick a boon to range.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I don't mind classes, but I don't like classes where they limit you to the point where you can't make that field medic. Like, and so that's why I like. It's always my example because I feel like that's one that's hard to do, especially in like 5th edition, in my opinion. Without, of course, going
multi-classing,
which is garbage too. So.
See, I love multi-classing in video games.
I absolutely love the idea of multi-classing. That's why I love Pathfinder, because I love the way they multi-class with the dedications and all of that. We're not going to get into it, but multi-classing in 5th edition to me doesn't work.
Well, the class itself doesn't work in 5th edition.
I mean, how the 5th edition doesn't work. All right.
So
now that we're done bashing that,
we got a very solid base thing there.
I felt like you had another specialization that you were interested in.
The surgeon.
Or doctor.
So what's the herbalist do? If you can already heal. So that's what I was kind of thinking the herbalist would do.
Well, I think the herbalist would be able to... some kind of utilization of...
once per day, make a potion.
That. Correct. That's exactly what I was thinking. Something along those lines.
So, okay. That's the thing. Like, when I was been staring at nuts for far too long these past few days. The
phrasing.
The once a day mechanic that does not exist in nuts, but there's been so many times like, man, that would be a really nice way to balance something. Just once per day.
Once a day ones are I think they're fantastic, and to me they're very easy to track because it's like, okay, we slept, they're replenished.
Yep.
You know, like that's I actually really like the once per day, but that's me.
Yeah. Well, I do too, but it's just like they did not fit in nuts. Yeah. So maybe once per day.
I mean, nuts and once per day. We out.
I like the idea of having to roll for this. Once per day, you can roll to harvest medicinal ingredients.
Great Mustache has a good point.
Scratch stares at nuts. Oh, that's you.
No, that's me. Is
inventory resource important? EZD6. If so, do healing kits get used up and you can replace 6. So, base EZD6 inventory was just very floaty. It was like, do what makes sense. That was the rule. Yeah. But even with that in mind, like all the gear you rolled up when making a character was quite a bit. Wasted World added some inventory rules because that's like post-apocalyptic. You want to be scrounging and salvaging kind of thing, and you got to worry about ammo. So I think when we first started this, we had talked about maybe using that because
I think you and I were going to try to find a balance, right?
Yeah,
talking about.
The inventory in Wasted World is very generous. But it did have some cool things for like heavy weapons and light weapons. But I liked the rolling mechanics Scotty added for finding ammo, food, and water. It was an abstract resource. So you would have, and I think the resource is just called supplies. So let's say it's like you have 5 supplies or whatever you start with. Supply could be either your ammo or it could be your food and water. You determined what that supply was at the time you needed it. So like if you spent the whole day shooting up, it's like, well, I'm going to consume a supply for ammo. However, if you're down to like 1 or 2 supplies and it's the end of the day, there's some, it's like you have to burn 1 or 2 supplies, I forget how it works, in order to refill strikes from long rests and stuff like that when you're sleeping. So there was a nice balance there, but it wasn't cumbersome. Just this abstract resource. Use it how you need, when you need, but it's just enough to keep in the back of your mind and salvage for. So like when you killed bad guys, you could roll something to see if you found any supplies. So whether that'll come into play in this or not, because we don't have guns, as far as I know, but I do like the idea of kind of leaning into Mouse Ritter a little bit, where traveling plays a big role in the sense like you don't just go from point A to point B. You have to have food to make it there.
Correct.
So,
And that's so if you from our first one, I was talking about there's zones. Essentially, it's the areas of safety, and that's where you're not going to have to track that kind of thing. And you and I were going to make, but if you go outside those zones, then your inventory and supplies are going to start mattering. Correct.
correct.
That's
correct.
what I was thinking. Let me go to page 44 of Wasted Worlds.
I feel like this video loops very fast. It's like
Which one?
The one we're listening to. It's like they have 3 tracks.
Oh, music. I'm not listening to music. Sorry.
That's true. You're not.
Yeah, see,
I am.
do. Acquiring supplies. I actually really like.
Yeah, it's so simple, but it's like I
It's
like the
simple.
idea of having to worry about supplies and have that, because it's nice to like salvage and find stuff. It's like, all right, keep this number up.
It also makes it fun for the GM or the rabble rouser in this case to change up how things happen. So
Are we gonna change the rabble rouser to the animal herder?
yeah, that's not a bad idea actually. Huh. Animal tender.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like it. All right. So I think we are onto something where the herbalist. Oh, you already got it.
Well, I stopped mid-flight here. Once per day, you can roll to harvest medicinal ingredients to make a potion, because that's gonna go over the alchemist if we have that.
So, well, let's stick with the great mustaches, where they are able to replenish something, right?
So would we want the healing kit to be so many uses a day? Or...
Technically, the healing kit is only 6 uses a day.
Well, vanilla.
Vanilla.
Our perk we made, it's just you can heal 1 strike between each scene all day long. So.
Well, maybe we. But that takes away. No, it doesn't, because then you build it that way. Sorry, I'm processing out loud.
That's why I was thinking this is kind of strong, because like you can just keep healing over and over and over and over and over.
Well, let's put back on the limit of. How much was the limit?
6. Which is pretty significant.
That fits the system.
Herbalist can heal up to 2 strikes if they have gathered medicinal ingredient. Ooh. Oh, I like that. Roll.
Who said that?
It's my stash, but I'm gonna take it a little bit different. Roll. When.
Wait, is mine not updating?
It just popped up. When using your healing kit, you can heal or roll 1d6 on X plus. I don't know what the number is yet. You may heal again in the same scene.
Well, and like we've been saying, a lot of this is just throwing spaghetti onto the wall and see what sticks.
That also doesn't sound much like a herbalist. That sounds more like the doctor. So what could the herbalist get? Because I like that. Able to heal 1 strike between scenes, and we'll say limit 6. And does the kit replenish the next day, or do you have to get another one? Excuse me.
Well, and that's where the herbalist can replenish it, right?
Let's do this. As a healer, you start with the healing. Okay. You not only start with the healing kit, but you are the only one that knows how to use it. And then the healing kit. So like other classes cannot use that healing kit. They have to use things like potions.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I love it.
Okay, because that's a pretty solid perk, and then getting the item you need to make that. So, and I say all that to say this, because the doctor, you can heal more, and you can heal faster. But the herbalist, once a day, you may roll 1d6 on X plus, I don't know what. You probably on a 6. On a 6, you find the ingredients to make another healing kit.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Kind of a scrounger. And there could be other flavors. Like, that's the straightforward ability. There could be other flavors in there. Like, hey, you're able to identify what's poisonous. And yeah.
That's what old Grognard said, though.
If the herbalist has reasonable access to plants, they can roll a d6 when they use a kit. And on a 6, it doesn't expend a charge. Ooh.
Now, we could save... Yeah. Whew. Dang it, I like them both now. Now,
or maybe that could be the doctor one. More efficient with his stuff.
That's true. That's true.
Alternate. Alternate. Or must say alternative. Roll 1d6 on a 6. You do not consume a use.
Based off the vanilla Churrigan inclination, they're able to heal 1 strike for each person for all players.
Oh, so, is it? I thought it was just
yes.
1 use. Oh.
No. It's all players. So I wanted to clarify that. Sorry, I know we're going backwards a little bit, but I wanted to make sure is that 1 strike? Period?
Bye, Peter.
Bye,
Go
Peter.
run some meetings. Ew.
Unless they're TPRPG meetings, then they're not so good.
All right, what were you saying?
So I want to understand the limitation. Are we putting even more of a limitation on that?
Able to heal 1 strike between scenes.
So it's able to heal
like
allies 1 strike between scenes. So it's all allies.
Let me see that wording. Are you reading that right?
Okay.
You can heal allies 1 strike given one of that. I guess you could take that either way, couldn't you?
See, I took it as all allies.
I took it as 1. Like, you can heal anybody for 1.
Where's Scotty? What was the intended purposes?
Well, either way,
interesting, because I took it as like, oh, you're healing all your teammates 1 strike in between scenes.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, if you have a fight in a room, and then that's your scene, then you heal 1, and then immediately in the next room's another fight. Like, that makes more sense. It's like, it's quick, patch up, let's move on. But if you're like, no, I'm gonna patch you up, I'm gonna patch you up, then I'm gonna patch you up, then I'm gonna patch you up. Okay, now let's go through the door to the next room and fight again. So
for me, speed wise, I'd say 1 to all allies.
That's healing everyone. Right?
Everybody 1.
Yeah, I like
that's
the
what
idea.
the doctor would do after a battle scene. Your doctor's going to be working on all of you.
If you have time, that's the
Correct.
thing. If you're
it does state given time and supplies.
That's true. But like, because I'm thinking middle of a dungeon, right, where you're just going room to room to room. You're not.
Yep.
You're not generally taking a lot of time between each room.
Correct.
So that's just 1 strike. Makes sense to me. But like, if you're out, and I guess that could be GM discretion. Like, oh no, you're out in the middle of the woods. You just killed a snake, and there's nothing else around. You're in the middle of the woods. Heal everybody, right? Use your entire kit if you want.
Well, I guess that's my next question. Your healing kit has 6 uses. Does that mean that you heal 1 strike to all allies 6 times?
It means it's basically the kit has 6 strikes in it to give.
Okay. That is not how I read the vanilla EZD6 one.
Oh, really?
So when I was building a doctor character, that is not how I read that. So very interesting. I read it that you had a healing kit that had 6 uses, and you could heal all of your allies 1 strike, given that you have time and supplies 6 times. So that's interesting. And I'm not arguing with you. I'm just letting you know.
I took it as you can burn 1 use per scene, and you have 6 uses
for only 1 strike for 1 ally.
I would say 1 use per scene out of your kit.
Well, the thing is, it's not per scene. This is an in between scenes. So that's the.
Well, yeah. So that's the kind of
the difference. So
between scenes is your own scene, right?
Maybe the argument is the healer can handle a strike in scene, in combat. Because technically nobody can heal in combat, right?
That might be a specialization.
Correct. Sorry. Maybe that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Mobile doctor, you can heal mid-combat. You can use your healing kit mid-combat 1 time.
The bone brew. How's it going, buddy?
The bone brew. You missed everything. Everything.
So I guess we're at a little bit of a stump because so let's not think about EZD6, right? The original writing.
Yeah.
What is the story you and I want to tell? What is the world you and I want to build? How hard do you want to make this world?
Churigen was the springboard. So, well, you only get 3 strikes. So that is also why I assumed it was the vanilla was 6 uses once per scene. So let's do, as a healer, you not only start with a healing.
I am going to write a message to Scotty.
We could ask him in our game. That's not this weekend.
Just out of curiosity. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyway, as a healer, you not only start with the healing kit, but you're the only one that knows how to use it. So you have VIP access to the healing kit. And then you start with a healing kit as HP extracted or a measure of health and vitality. I don't know, like, when it's just 3 strikes, I don't worry about it too much. Do we want to have some kind of wound thing in there? Like, oh, you're down to 1 HP. You roll everything with a bane.
No, I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah, I think it's just a number in this one. But anyway, you got the healing kit. Able to heal 1 strike between scenes, limit 6.
So it is more abstract then, right?
Able to heal 1 strike between scenes. Because it's very up to y'all what a scene is. So I like that. So basically, I take that to mean, all right, in between fights, we can do this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how you run your systems. I mean, I don't run a lot of dungeon crawls, but...
Yeah, able to heal 1 strike, limit 6. Able to heal 1 strike between scenes, given there is some downtime. But that's kind of what I take in between scenes to mean. Like, you are at a calm right here.
Okay.
I'm just saying that's how I read it. It's able to heal 1 strike between scenes, given there is some downtime. Limits or healing kits have 6 uses. There we go.
And then how do you replenish your healing kits?
You would have to buy more. Unless...
Is that like a roleplay thing in town?
Yeah, well, that goes into the question, are we going to have money? How are we doing that?
See, and that's where maybe we don't. And you replenish what you have in town. Or in your safe zones.
Oh, just automatic? Yeah.
Yeah. Because that way, so like, if you're traveling from X to Z, in between here and here, there's a chance of death, a chance of running out of supplies, and a chance of running out of... And supplies would include your healing kits. And arguably, if you have excess supplies, or if you wanted to sacrifice your supplies, you could have the role-playing mechanic. It doesn't even have to be written in, but this is something I would do. Hey, can I sacrifice some of my supplies to replenish my healing kit, please?
Yeah.
And so that's part of your travel, right?
I forget how Wasted World handles money. I don't think it... I know it added
Most of them-
scrap, but
Most of them don't have money. They have like resources, right?
well, vanilla EZD6 had wealth, their wealth rating, and then Wasted World, which I thought was really cool. It added the idea of scrap, and scrap was big and heavy, so it wasn't so much, all right, I found 2 gold coins, put them in my pocket. It's like, oh no, here's a ton of scrap. How are we going to get it back?
Yeah.
So.
And so I think with our variation, I like the idea that when you're in your safe zones, man, and you know what? Sorry, Jacob's going to the roleplay side. A safe zone becomes under attack. It's no longer a safe zone.
So maybe instead of money and you may have said this earlier, each time you hit up a safe zone, there's like X number of things you're allowed to take. So instead of like, oh, I'm in a safe zone, I'm gonna get a healing kit, I'm gonna rest up, I'm gonna get this sword, I'm gonna refill my karma. It's like, no, you can take 3 things or whatever, and like a healing kit may be one of them. And it's like that way you have to decide what you're taking, and
As a group.
yeah, and I kind of like the idea of trade being a thing instead of just buying stuff. Like you can bring stuff back that will give you that'll allow you to take things.
Oh, see, I love that idea.
Yeah.
That you're bringing back.
So it's
Well,
like, yeah,
that
I need
allows
to
you to-
scrounge a little bit. I need to fit this in my inventory, but the reward is I get this abstract choice of whatever the heck I want back. Within
That allows each area to be unique.
Mm-hmm.
So like this town could offer certain things that are slightly different than this town, and that's not that hard to make because you make a simple list. Like when you're scrolling through Wasted Worlds or there's all of those lists. Actually, the new book that I won't say the name is, if you look at the bottom, there's all those roll tables. So it's like it wouldn't be that hard to make safe zones and with different options.
So let's make a note down here. Money, wealth, safe zones, and trading. Oh, that's not how you spell that. So make it a little bigger. All right. Instead of money, do we want trading to be a thing?
Well, that goes along with the supplies also, because if you guys end up with excess supplies, you
Yeah.
could easily trade. You could bring that back and trade it in to refill
Use
stuff.
Wasted Worlds supplies to bring back to safe zones in exchange for items such as healing kits.
It really creates the fun, like, you could have some really cool role play scenes and scenarios too, where the fetch quest, but it gives them more fun, more reward, more, because you don't do experience in the system so much, right?
Right.
So you can easily go do like the town's doctor's looking for these supplies that's found in this area. You have to leave the safe zone, you go gather them, you run into trouble. Do you make it back? If you make it back, there's like so many variations that you could really have some fun with that.
Grognard says, I like the safe zone versus outside the wire thing. Or outside of the
thank you,
wild.
Grognard.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm liking it too. Because, I don't know, like, maybe it's just the games I played, or at least when campaigns. The 2 I did, I guess it's my fault, but town was just like, yep, we're here. And it's just a place to have a long rest, And that was also 5e, but
Yeah. I mean, you're playing in one of my games. That town is like, you and I haven't dove into it a lot, but that town is extremely fleshed out. Like,
well, it's
certain
also the
buildings
core
do
of the
things.
story.
It is the core of the story.
I'm
But that's
thinking
how
like
a lot of their towns are, though.
Yeah,
They're extremely
this
fleshed out.
what we're looking at here gives you a reason to go to towns. It's like, oh, I'm out exploring. I really need to get to this town for safety reasons, and stock
It
up.
also encourages setting up. Like, if you wanted to play a game that set up safe zones, you could play that kind of a game where you're like, well, let's go here. Every time we travel to this direction, there's nowhere. And by the time we get there, we're so burnt out that we all die. We need to build a little safe zone here. And then so that, that comes into fun role play of recruiting people who want to do this with you. You go to the, setting it up, dealing with local whatever problem, and then boom, you story-wise you could establish a safe zone with your players.
Yeah, and two things here. So one, like two different thoughts. One was Wasted Worlds. I think you could do some rolling up for a town to see what they could actually provide, and we may have already said this. Right? Yeah.
The whole.
Yeah, it's like, can you actually get decent rest here? Is it a good place, or will they actually have supplies for you to take? Stuff like that.
Correct.
It's like I wreck with myself.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but all right.
And the other thought I had was, I remember, I think it was in the video, Scotty dropped a video a while back about his open license things. Like, yeah, go make stuff. But I forgot what the, like how it works as far as using, I can't remember if he was like, hey, try to come up with your own rules. Like, do we just want to use a bunch of Wasted World rules? Because then we're like, well, that might be cutting into people buying his Wasted World book. Or would it be better to come up with our own mechanics so you still have a reason to go get Wasted World? Or if we're reusing stuff, like, do you just say in our book, you have to go buy Wasted World to see how this looks, instead of taking that rule and just putting it in our book? And I guess, we could just ask him, right? Oh, where'd you go, Jacob? Oh, it's 1:30. It's time for you to go. I lost him. Oh no. Well, there he is.
Yeah, no, that's the reason I bought a boom, is because I do this. The cord goes right by my arm.
Oh, you ripped it out?
I bumped it out. And then OBS is like, well, or VDO is like, that doesn't exist anymore, and then I have to refresh. So.
It just threw you out, didn't it?
Sorry about that.
That's weird. You unplug a mic and it gets rid of you.
Well, it doesn't get rid of me. It got rid of my mic availability. So, like, even though I plugged it back in and refreshed, I couldn't turn my mic back on. So the entire time you were talking, I was listening. I couldn't respond.
You're also super quiet right now too, because I had to turn your auto gain off in VDO and everything. So Windows probably turned you down. But anyway, we are at that hour-and-a-half mark, and you said you had to skedaddle and go do stuff. So
yeah, I got a job. But I liked exactly what you were saying, and it's a good question. I think what we're trying to do, it is along the line of the Wasted World, but it's not a full survivor feeling. It's only stressful between safe zones. And it is, I think we're going to do it slightly different because of that. And he does state in that video, and he does stated his open license is very open. So I don't think because we're scrapping the scrap.
Yeah.
Essentially, ours is going to be a different feeling because you're playing as animals.
Oh.
You have different. So in that one, your only hero path, so to speak, is the survivor, where we have all of these jobs. Like, there's a whole different feeling there too.
Yep. And I like the idea of the trading. Like, you bring in stuff and you get to take stuff, because the safe zones are neutral ground and everyone is supporting each other in the wild, or at least the type of creatures we're playing as, right? It's like, hey,
exactly.
Everybody here gets eaten by snakes, so we're working together. So
that's why they established.
Yeah, it's like you give us something, we give you something. So what are our next steps here? More jobs.
Well, we need
obviously.
more jobs.
Predator attack resist system.
Yeah, we need to flesh that out. We need to do inclinations still. And then once we're done with those three, we're going to revisit species and perks.
Well, okay, so you're thinking of the whole thing. I'm just thinking next steps, like this week.
Oh, sorry. I was going full view. Between now and next week?
Yeah.
Survive?
I'll put other ideas. Trade systems. Supplies.
I mean, I think next session is going to be kind of the same thing, fleshing out more jobs and specializations.
Yep.
It's called Moss and Stone!
Moss and Stone! Yeah.
That's just what we're calling it right now. We might stick with that name. I love it, but we'll see what happens.
Yes. We don't know why we're calling it that yet. I mean, somebody came up. They didn't call the game Moss and Stone, but they used the term Moss and Stone. I was like, we're we're using that as a name.
We
Now we
stole
just
it
have
and
to
loved it.
find a lore reason to call it that. But that falls on me. So, all right. So next goals, jobs, or let's say next goals / focus about that. So we're gonna focus on more jobs. We're gonna focus on the predator system, and we need to get down on some inclination stuff. But we also really liked the idea of trade systems and supplies. So
Yeah.
that is a floating one for now. So actually, I will.
A week from now, old Grognard. Our goal, we're going to be shooting for these Thursdays. It's kind of what Scrat and I are going to do during this time on Thursdays.
That is what we're trying. I think it works pretty good so far. You know,
I appreciate you being
whole
here,
2 times.
old Grognard.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel pretty excited for what we've gotten done. We've nailed down a lot of things, which helps us drive forward more, but it also created more questions.
That's how it goes. I'd say we did start at a weird week because I just got my book back from an editor, which I don't want to say, oh, she did a bad job, or like I didn't like what she did, because then it just sounds like she marked me up, and I don't want to be marked up. It's just her feedback was not very actionable or directional. So it's like, yep, you need to do this, but it's like, okay, how? How do I do that? Or she just said like, hey, here's this big chunk of dialogue. Don't do that. You need to sprinkle that throughout the book. And it's like, okay, where is your suggestion? Like, where can I do this? How can I do this? You know, like this is your job, lady. And she's like, oh no, that's up to you. Like, you got to figure out how to do that structurally. It's like, okay, what did I pay you for again? So there is that, and then I'm also trying to really wrap up nuts to send it off to some competition. So this has not been getting a whole lot of love, but I still think it's moving forward pretty good. So,
I mean, and we don't need to rush it either.
that's
Like,
true. This is a fun
This
thing.
is kind of just our brainchild that we're supposed to be enjoying together. So
That's right. And I'm gonna turn 38 tomorrow. Go me.
should we sing to you?
No.
Okay.
Should I do a birthday? Well, actually, I gotta join your game tomorrow. You're gonna give me extra hero points?
I'll give you an extra hero point.
I bet like 3 or 4 of them.
1.
I worked a whole year for 1 hero point. Jeez.
Well, happy birthday, Scrat. I do gotta go. I got
Yep.
another job I gotta do.
Go work.
Chat, you guys rock. I appreciate the support. Hi, Great Mustache. I do know you've sent me like 3 messages that I have not answered. Even my wife has told me that I need to respond to you. We'll get there, bud. We'll get there.
Yeah. So, see y'all around, I guess, next week.
All right. Y'all enjoy your night.
Bye, YouTube.